So, FM, they split up, they called it a day at that point, it felt completely right, and here we are, we're sort of approaching like year 2000, and you appear on a project, or would you call it a band? They're called So.
Yeah, that was, that album, Gary, was the album I said in the last part. Basically, those songs were written during the latter part of FM. And I knew they weren't right for FM, but I wanted to make the record, so I finished, and luckily people heard them that were connected and thought they were great songs, so gave me the money to make the record, and I got a deal for the record, and I loved making that record, and I used some great musicians on it, friends of mine, and it was just a real kind of, I guess, different thing for me. It was a totally different experience. A lot of it was acoustic-based and strummy songs played on acoustic guitar, and it was just something totally different, and I needed that after FM because I've been writing in that direction for a lot of years, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that came out, I toured that, and I had great fun doing it, but you know, then other things started to happen. I got other offers for other records, and so didn't really last that long. We did one album, and the other guys were kind of session players, so one of them went off and played with Joe Cocker and did various things. So it was just a tough band to keep together because they were all sort of I guess you'd call hired hand musicians, you know.
Absolutely,
and we would have loved to have made another record, and after we sort of, I still see, they're still mates of mine, the guys in the band that were in that band, and they're always saying, shall we do another album, but I just don't have the time now, you know, and so it was a great time, and I really enjoyed the break from doing kind of that blues classic rock thing that FM did. It was a nice change for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it kind of started a whole, you know, you've almost sort of implied that it started a whole kind of deviation from FM. I mean, you're talking about the Ladder, Shadow Man, and of course your solo material as well.
Yeah.
Do you find all of that merely a sort of a therapeutic process, or do you see these other projects as something that has a very specific place in your kind of musical creativity?
No, definitely, the last one. Very, very much a space in my musical creativity because I'm working with different musicians on each project, and they all, as I said earlier, everybody brings something different to the table, and no musician plays, thinks, or writes or does things in the same way. I've never met two musicians that think the same or do the same things, you know, so it's a real healthy thing for me. I've always been somebody that if I get a phone call and they say, can you do this, Steve? I'll always go, yes, and then think, how am I going to do that then? You know, I'll take on board how I'm actually going to do it when they've asked me to do it. So I'm very lucky, Gary, in that people have always asked me, would I like to be involved in things and make records like this? And I've got my own deal with Escape, which I've had now for sort of 15 years. And the guy that's the head of the record company there, Khalil, lets me pretty much do what albums I want to do. And Shadow Man's a great project because I'm playing with Chris Charles and Harry James from Thunder. That's the rhythm section. I've got Steve Morris, who's in Heartland. He's and also worked with Ian Gillan on many things, still does, you know, and great players in the band. So every album I make is for different musicians, which keeps it healthy. And I have to sometimes, everything I do, I like to be slightly different, and nothing like FM. It has to be totally different to FM. So, and in direction, because FM are FM, and I already do that. So, you know, I mean, the first solo album was done with a guy called Anders, who's basically very musical. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of proggy in places, that first record, and you know, it really challenged me because he wanted me to sing in a totally different way, not all the kind of Paul Rodgers blues licks, none of that, just straight singing, lots of layered harmonies, and everything's a different challenge. And I think if you don't do that through your career, you become complacent, and you know, you can't become complacent. It's not the way to survive in this business, you know. So doing all the different things is a very healthy thing for me.